All right, y'all. It's little after midnight. Well, 30 past midnight, basically. Yesterday, great Super Bowl, awesome Super Bowl. Probably one of the best Super Bowls I have ever seen. I mean, nail biter. KC coming from behind, win, beautiful. It was a beautiful game. I'm a Redskins fan. I'm here in El Paso. A lot of Dallas fans were even posting their like, holy shit, that was a great Super Bowl. And it was. That I mean, I love how the commentators were like, hey, Kansas City's behind, but you know that it's like, it's like they like being coming from behind and everything. And I was sitting there watching it and I was like, so you're saying there's a chance, And sure enough, fucking Patrick Mahomes, because he was overthrowing. There was like he was throwing low in the ground, and I'm like, that's not Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't make this many mistakes in one game. It's like, what the hell is going on? And then I can't remember his name right now, but one of their defensive players on the sideline was just yelling at the team. And I was like, oh, shit, he's lighting a fire under their asses. And next thing you know, defense picked it up. Fourth quarter just started kicking ass. And then fucking Patrick Mahomes just all of a sudden, now he playmaker. I'm like, oh, shit, what the hell's going on? So that was one of the best games I've ever seen. Anyway, let's get back on topic here. So I was watching this video. It's one of the other channels I kind of follow, Priceless channel. They do the same thing as Audit the Audit and a couple of the other guys that I follow, people who are all about our rights. And I am really big about that. I mean, when I moved here to El Paso, being married to a American Mexican family, even I live here in El Paso, which is one of the most disputed borders, in politics as well as on TV and movies, El Paso everywhere. And even them, the Mexican family I was married into, they got their citizenship. I mean, the wife I was married to, her grandmother and her mom were Mexican citizens and got their American citizenship. So even they don't like illegals. It's like, hey, if I had to fucking do all this work and shit, them motherfuckers can do the work, So and I'm one of those people. Follow the law. I do not believe in blindly following orders of police officers. As I've said in previous videos, especially like the one the incident was here in El Paso, on the west side of El Paso. I can't stand tyrant cops. I do not like tyrant cops. You do not get to break the law or bend the law. Because I grew up with racist, back in the 70s, racist ass, corrupt fucking cops. And we didn't have cell phones and all this other shit back then. So, but even then, I'm sorry. So we didn't have all that protection like you do now. Everybody got a cell phone, everybody's got a dash cam and all that other shit. I didn't have any of that stuff. And I still would argue my rights to these corrupt, racist ass cops. It's like, I know my rights. I don't need to identify myself. Did I commit a crime? Well, I don't know. Well, if you don't know, then you don't need my identification. It's like, you don't need my identification. For one, I'm a kid, but at the same time, it's one of those, so you want me to forego, this is me even as a kid, I knew my shit, my rights. So you want me as a kid, just as a citizen, you want me to forego my rights. You want to violate my rights for your suspicion. That's not how the law works, So I'm really, really, really big on cops following the law. I understand it's what I put it in the previous video. I understand it's one of the hardest jobs to do. Here's the thing, especially if a cop is a fucking veteran, a combat veteran. Let me make sure I say this. Especially if the cop is a combat veteran. I was never going to go overseas ever. I was military intelligence. I was not going overseas. So, but then again, I joined the military to work smarter, not harder. That was my thing. I didn't feel like being I grew up being in gangs and all this other shit. Plus the fact that I've admitted this. I'm a sociopath with psychopathic tendencies. It's in my military records. It is in my records even as a kid. You know, I was not about to join something that would be combat related, knowing that I could fucking snap and shit. So I was like, no, I'm going to take something that is literally just working in an office and just chilling out and that's what I went for. You know, I've had people try to pick on, and I'm like, dude, I was in gangs. I grew up, my mom being a Hell's Angel chick. I grew up around violence. I grew up doing violence. Guarantee you, I got more combat knowledge than you do. Guarantee it. I probably am going to start making. I'm not going to name names because some of these people are still friends of mine that we did a lot of this shit in our past. But we were young, we were stupid, we were teenagers, But yeah, I mean, I got into when I was in basic. I got into an argument with one of the drill sergeants. I'd have to pull out my book from basic to remember his name. He wasn't one of my drill sergeants, so I don't remember his name. I remember my drill sergeant's names, but I don't remember this guy. I'd have to pull up the book in order to look up his name. But him and I got into it once with hand-to-hand combat, and because I corrected him. He was trying to demonstrate to these fucking noobs and shit who have never done anything. I've been into martial arts since I was 5. So you ain't teaching me shit, especially about throwing a fucking straight punch. That's one of the first things you fucking learn. But I can understand teaching these fucking noobs who've never done a goddamn combat related thing in their life, then yeah, teach them. So he's sitting there trying to teach this, and I wasn't laughing. It was just one of those, he's doing this wrong. And I couldn't keep quiet. It was bugging the fuck out of me. Because I was like, you do realize that if they take what you're telling them and they try to apply it in a real, the drill sergeant was bringing up even bar fights and shit. Well, if you even get to a bar fight, he was cool when it came to that, because he was military, and we know military get into bar fights. I'm a Navy brat, so I grew up military. I grew up in Virginia, so there's military presence everywhere. I live in El Paso where Fort Bliss is. This ain't a military town. I grew up military. Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Langley, the fucking Portsmouth Naval Shipyards. The Eastern Fleet is stationed there in Norfolk. We lived right outside the NAS base, the Naval Air Station that my dad was still in. We lived right outside of that. So when you want to talk military or government, that is Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Langley, Hampton. That's all of it. There's a military presence. You go anywhere and there's MPs and shit everywhere. I come here to El Paso, I could be on Fort Bliss all goddamn day. And except for the fucking guards at the gate, not see one fucking MP. One. You go on base in Norfolk, any amphibious base, you go on any base, except for maybe Fort Story, the Army base that's there. But you go on any base and there's military fucking police every goddamn where, on and off the base. I mean, the first time, because sometimes I would go bike riding as well as nighttime walks on Fort Bliss, because it's beautiful. It's beautiful at night. And me and my friend who, hold hold on, because I hate these stupid commercial things. And I'm pretty damn sure I'm trying to get my whatchamacallit to not the timer for my damn amplifier to not turn off. Anyway, she was married to the military she is a retired wife, meaning she literally has a permanent ID because she was married to her active duty husband the whole time that he was military until he retired. So she literally has a permanent ID as a former, military spouse. So her and I went for one of these nighttime walks. And we're walking around a lot of secure, sensitive areas on Fort Bliss. No MP presence, like at all, like the entire fucking time. And it's like, what the fuck? I was literally just picking, people could just, because it was sometime after that. I can't remember if it was a couple of years, a couple of months, whatever. Sometime after that, people started jumping the fence of Fort Bliss and like just being on Fort Bliss and shit. And I'm like, I'm not fucking surprised. There's no MP presence whatsoever. There's no police. There's no security presence. And I mean, as I said, we're walking around secure buildings, the command building, everything. And there's no military police presence. There was like no security whatsoever. And I feel kind of weird even mentioning this online. I don't think it's a secret, but I don't want to encourage anybody to be stupid enough to, jump, But I mean, I was sitting here. I mean, this is not just from me. This was from her. This is from any veteran or military wife, active duty, I mean, whatever, that have come to Fort Bliss and literally be like, uh, where the fuck is like the security presence? How it's like I've been to Hawaii. I've been, I mean, we're comparing notes. And it's like I've been all over the military bases all over the world, and there's fucking military presence or security presence everywhere. You come to Fort Bliss, there's no goddamn security presence. It's like, what the oh my God. Anyway. But so I grew up being in martial arts, being in gangs, being around bikers, literally seeing violence and being involved in violence like pretty much my whole life. So I wasn't about to join a combat related, especially when I aced all my shit to go into the military. I was like, and the way I was raised to use your brain more than your brawn, you know? So fuck that. I joined the military. As I said, I could have done the helicopter mechanic. I could have gone CID. I could have gone but I went military intelligence because I knew out of all the MOSs, from friends, from just growing up military, everything, that is really pretty much the one. Let's put it this way. That is a very cushy job. Let's just say that. Yeah, let's just say that. And as I was already over the age of 20, 24, 25 when I joined. So I wasn't about to, as I said, join. And as I said, I had people that were, well, you didn't go combat or something. It was offered to me. It was offered to me a lot, but I kept turning it down. It's like, again, work smarter, not harder. You expect that you're going to be like somebody tougher than me because you were combat related. Do you know how many times I've had guns and knives and been shot at it's like, are you fucking kidding me? We could compare stories all the time. Explosives, me and my friends used explosive devices. We used napalm. We used Molotov cocktails when we were in gangs. We did all of that shit. So no veteran is going to sit here and and try and compare notes with me about violence, seeing their friends shot and stabbed. Been there, done that when I was a teen. And what's your point? I mean, yeah, it's just I dare any veteran to try, I've seen beheadings. So have I in civilian life. I've seen, it's like, no, whatever you want to throw out there, I've been there, done that. as a civilian, as a military dependent, but as a civilian. So no, I've been in combat related type shit since I was a child. You know, the only people who aren't going to criticize are other like country folk. I killed my first thing when I was 5. So again, killing, hunting, skinning, all that shit, cooking it, all I've been there, done that since I was a kid. So violence, you're not going to throw combat related shit at me. So any cops that are veterans that served, especially in a combat related environment, y'all can be shot at and still not return fire. Y'all can literally, I've got horror stories from a lot of my friends that were in the Middle East. They would literally be seeing children getting raped right there in fucking public. I mean, they're telling me these stories of the people doing it on purpose, raping children in front of them because they knew the American soldiers had no orders to interfere whatsoever. So for you to be that paranoid stateside when you literally lived in an environment, lived and served in an environment that was openly violent towards you, and you had to compose yourself and follow the US, the military code of, oh my God, I'm getting tongue tied. Anyway, following the rules, following the laws, the rules, everything that you have to follow, the UCMJ. Oh, good Lord. If you had to do that in that environment and you become a police officer, then you still have to follow the laws and rules here. I can't, as I said, I grew up with corrupt fucking cops. So, especially when you have people filming them now, you would think that they would think, maybe I really need to follow the law. The guy is obviously filming me. Maybe I need to follow the law. Maybe I need not to violate their rights, because it could get me fired, written up, suspended, fired, and the city sued. You would think that there would be cops who would be fucking smart enough to not be stupid. But then there are these videos that come out, and obviously there are still stupid fucking cops who just hope. Because when prepaid legal came out, I knew a lot of police officers. When it came to El Paso, I knew, because I used to sell memberships for prepaid legal. I love prepaid legal. Prepaid legal has gotten me out of a lot of shit from corrupt cops. But a lot of my police officer friends told me openly, I can't stand prepaid legal. It keeps us from doing our job. And I was like, whoa. How does prepaid legal, how does having a lawyer on speed dial keep you from doing your job? What are we talking about here? And they're like, well, it just kind of interferes with our job. And I'm like, how, again, you're kind of throwing me off here. And this wasn't just my friends telling me this, because if you ever went to a prepaid legal meeting, conference, any of that stuff, there are a lot of horror stories. I mean, not horror story, horror stories of cops violating people's rights, because everybody's sharing the stories. Then you have people who, after they got prepaid legal, and the stories that came out after the fact of, oh, cops can't stand prepaid legal. The moment you hold up that prepaid legal card, the cops are all like, oh, okay, I'll just leave it. And as I said, my police officer friends were like, we don't like it because it interferes with doing our job. No, because what you're talking about, if the person had actually committed a crime, you'd still be able to do your job. No, what you are talking about is violating their rights so you feel you're doing your job. As I say in my videos, you do not get to break or bend the law in order to enforce the law. If you can't do your job, which is enforcing the law within the fucking law and not violating their rights, if you don't know how to do your job without doing that, you need to quit. Or you need to tell your commander, captain, whoever, sergeant, whatever, I need to take time off because I need a refresher course or something about rights and not violating people's rights and following the law because I've lost my way. I don't know how to do my job without bending or breaking the law. There you go. Now, I know I've had people say, well, Mark, it's a danger. I've had friends who have been killed in the line of duty. I've got friends of their children being killed in the line of duty that were police officers, husbands. I've known a lot of cops in my lifetime who have been killed, or people directly attached to me of other officers being killed. I understand that. But then again, it's also the same thing of me being in gangs. You cannot live life if you're going to be that paranoid to where, again, that you bend or break the law to enforce the law. If you are that paranoid to where you're harassing people and trying to, get them to violate their rights and everything else, again, quit your job. I understand it is one of the most dangerous jobs, but then again, as I said about the military, if you're a vet, if you've been in that situation, you were able to keep your composure there, right? You were able to keep your composure in that environment, watching kids getting raped, watching people around you getting shot, but did they shoot directly at you? Nope. Well, then you have to hold your fire or you have to get orders. And there were a lot of times that my friends were like, we didn't even get orders to return fire because we were in no danger. So if you can follow the rules that way, then you can follow the rules in the civilian world. I'm not saying be completely clueless and just getting shot at a traffic stop or everything. No, I'm not saying that. Always be vigilant. Always. When you grow up in gangs, you're always vigilant. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that we just completely just sit around the whole time doing this. No, we still live life. So anyway, and I've completely not gotten off the subject, but given background. I'm going to see if I can actually get past a lot of it. So this veteran, he's actually known to a lot of the cops in this city in Georgia. He's actually known to a lot of cops. He is one of those people like Audit the Audit, things like that. He's one of those people that he films the officers. And I'm sorry, there needs to be a lot more people doing this to make sure, because what is that saying? Who is policing the police? There needs to be a lot of people doing this kind of shit. I've got a lot of my friends who are cops who don't like people doing this and posted it on Facebook and YouTube and everything else. But here's the thing. If you did your job properly, you would get commendations. One of the other channels that I follow, they literally travel the country and do the whole auditing the police officers kind of shit. And if the police officers do their job, they will sign commendations. Man, these officers did a great job. You need to fucking award these cops. Keep an eye on these cops. They do a great job. If it's the kind of cops that are fucking assholes and everything else, they will get complaints and fill them out. This cop needs re-education, that kind of stuff. I love that. I've seen a lot of these videos where the cops completely just break the law, violate the law, just because they got a badge. I got a badge on, so they can do whatever the fuck they want to do. We make the laws. There's one video that pops up all the time on my thing where it's like, we're the law, kind of shit. It's somewhere around here, one of these. But it's like, we make the laws. And it's, whoa, what? Okay. But it's one of those, we make the laws. And it's like, what the hell? No, you don't make the laws. Again, police officers like that need to be suspended and re-educated or just outright fired. If you can't do the job, don't do the job. And that's for anybody. You work fast food and you hate doing fast food to so much that you're like a dick and an asshole about it all the fucking time and shit and whatever, then get out of fast food. Go do something else. Work at Dollar Tree or something else or join the military, you know. But if you hate a job so much that it affects your job, bad customer service, you know, all of that shit, then get out, quit. Well, I need a paycheck. Well, then you better start enjoying this job, because we didn't go and grab you off the street to work at fucking McDonald's. You came here and filled out an application. So don't be mad over something you chose to do. So anyway, let me fast forward. So the guy, he was filming a traffic stop. He was filming a stop, part of one of his videos, when an officer confronted him, blocked him in, mind you, blocked him in, and then started asking for his ID, which he does not need to give. Well, the officer was like, well, the business that you're in front of is closed. And he goes, I frequent this business all the time. Well, it's closed right now, so you're loitering. Do you speak for the business right now that is closed right now? Do you speak for this business? Well, no. Well, then you have no authority to say that I'm loitering. That's not your decision to make. Obviously, he's right. It isn't the officer's job to enforce loitering for a private business. There have been plenty of times where I've told cops, let me see. I used to work at, oh my God, I can't remember the name of this call center I used to work at many years ago. Before I joined the military? No, after I got out. And it was something to do at that moment, and it was a lot of money. It really was a lot of money. Cops were staking out the parking lot, like literally weaving in the park. And I went over to them. I said, you know, this is private property, right? Did anybody call you to come on this property? Well, no. And I said, well, then you need to leave now. Well, who are you? I'm an employee here. And even if I was just a normal citizen walking through the parking lot, I would still, because I've done this to cops before when it comes to, there's an Albertsons near here. And cops set up a speed trap on the property. And I turned around and I was like, y'all need to leave. Well, what business is of yours? Did you get the management? Did you get their permission for you to set up? And as a matter of fact, the management doesn't even have authority for this. You would need to get literally like the president or the district. You need to go, you know, before you get permission to set up a speed trap or whatever on private property. Did you get that? And they were like, well, no, but they stayed. They were thinking I was fucking bluffing. Went and told, because I knew the guy, I knew the GM, went and told the GM, he comes outside and says, y'all need to leave now. I'm standing there going, I fucking told you. When I used to work for this computer company after I got out of the military, Smart Tech, a division of Unisys, did the same thing. I was repairing computers on this private property for a shipping company, and there was a police officer on the property set up with his radar. I walked over there and said, did you, and I named the managers inside. I said, because I had just seen them. And I was like, did you get so-and-so's permission to be out here setting up a speed trap on their property? He goes, yes, I did. I said, oh, you did, huh? Because I just got done talking to her, so I seriously doubt you did. So I need your badge number and your name so I can report you. And got him suspended. It was like, again, you do not get to bend or break the law to enforce the law. I have a serious problem with that.
To get to my side of the car, did you not see me move over here? You know, this business hadn't asked me to leave. You do not speak for this business. Officer, what's your name and badge number? 38. Officer Hall, 38. Now we can have your ID. No. What? No, you can't have my ID. Yes, I can. I'm not doing anything wrong. Yes, you can. I'm investigating. Okay. What crime have I committed? You're in a place of business. What crime have I committed? I think this way. Show me how smooth you came.
The officer keeps ignoring him. As you heard, it's like, well, you're at this place of business, it's closed. Do you speak for this business? Officer completely ignored it. So he was like, what crime? Because the officer has him blocked in. The guy can't pull out. Now, when he first approached him, it was because he's got those neon lights under his car, and he was like, those are illegal. He goes, no, blue, red, and I forgot what other color he says, are illegal. Those are purple. And if you see the color, they are obviously fucking purple. But the cop is like, oh, they're purple? And I'm like, what are you, colorblind? If you are, maybe you not need to quit doing your job because there's a disability that you have. If you obviously can't see what fucking purple looks like, did you not have crayons in school? You know, maybe he's a former Marine and he eats crayons. Ooh, I don't know.
Okay. You can't have my ID. I haven't committed a crime.
Nope.
You cannot have my ID.
See, he keeps asking for his ID, even though he knows he's wrong. The officer already knows he's wrong because of the fact that when the guy is asking him, what crime have I committed that you suspect me of committing? The officer has the brains to know, well, I'm not going to answer that because the moment I do, I have to let him go. But at the same time, he's expecting the citizen who's a military veteran to forego his rights by just identifying himself and handing over his ID. I got into an argument with a friend of mine just the other day. She's the daughter of one of the retired sheriffs here in El Paso. And she said, well, why can't people just comply? And that immediately pissed me off. This is on one of my Facebook posts dealing with one of the videos. Why can't people just comply? And I got into it. I went and talked to her later that night and I was like, so you expect people to just completely just forego the rights as citizens just to comply with an unlawful order? That's what you're expecting? And she got real quiet and I was like, well, you answered it by saying, why can't people just comply? No, because you are foregoing your rights for the comfort of the officer who knows he's violating your rights. No. Again, if you can't do your job within the law, then don't do the fucking job. Your suspicion doesn't trump, good word there, does not trump the law. It doesn't.
I haven't committed a crime. It does matter. Okay.
It doesn't matter? I would have said, I'm recording this, right? So by you just saying that, I'm going to file a complaint with you in Internal Affairs, and you will get a write-up in your file. I know that those totaling up is not a good thing. So you really want to push this? I'd already be... Now, he does do something later in the video that really pisses me off. Even though he is one of those people, the auditor, he's one of those people that goes around and makes sure that cops follow the rules, follow the law. But then he gets all angry and starts yelling. And I'm like, dude, see, you're losing your composure when you didn't have to. You didn't have to lose your composure. So, I mean, yeah, that's one thing because my mother taught me a long time ago when I was a kid. I ended up using this on her one day and it pissed her off. But she was like, the first person that gets angry, the first person who loses their temper and just gets all crazy and wild, they've already lost the argument. They've already lost the debate. And me being a sociopath and extremely intelligent, I am stroking myself on that. I love manipulating words. I'm really, really, really good at reading people. Very good. It's one of the reasons why I was good for intelligence. I'm really good at observing, reading people, and picking shit out. And being a sociopath on top of that, I'm really good at taking that information and throwing it at you in a really nice and negative way because of the way I speak, how calm, oh yeah, I'm really, really good at this shit. And people don't like it. People just, I've pissed off some really awesome people, a lot of different stories. But him losing his temper, it's like, dude, you're in the right. Why are you losing your temper? And here's the thing that really pissed me off. And I think he was baiting the cop. I really do. Because the cop was already starting to leave. This is after two other cops show up, and he's still yelling at the officer and everything. And I'm like, just let him go. They're already saying they were leaving. Why are you going to bait him by yelling at him and cursing at him? And that just doesn't make any sense. But I think he was trying to bait the cop at that point, which to me is one of those, see, now you're in the wrong. The officer still was in the wrong anyway, but now you're trying to make it to where the officer does do something really stupid and possibly gets fired. And that to me was just like, no, I don't like that.
As soon as you unblock me so I can leave, I'll leave. But you can't have my ID.
Now, this officer is one of the ones who actually knows this guy and knows that he's one of these people that audit police officers. He already knows this.
Nothing much. This officer just asked for my ID and I refused because I hadn't committed any type of crime. I'm doing.
See? The officer even knows the dude's name. He actually knows the guy. But let's fast forward because a third officer shows up. And I guess he is, he's a sergeant. The guy, the citizen, doesn't know this sergeant, but the sergeant knows him.
Asked you several times to get out of my way. Because this dude, you can let this dude tell you what was going on. Because he didn't like me filming, and he's coming over here trying, oh, you got brulettes, which are purple. These are legal here in Georgia. Then he said, oh, well, you're loitering. Oh, this is a closed business. I patronize this business all the time. Right. I was over here filming. He does not speak for this business.
That's true. The officer cannot tell you to leave on behalf of a business. That's officers have no authority for that shit.
And it's one thing after another, after another. Oh, well, you just, oh, then this.
But the more the gentleman talks, it's like he just like is losing brain cells the more that he talks. But yeah, the officer first picked on his lights. Then he picked on, what are you doing? Then he picked on loitering, which again is not the officer's, that's not his job to speak for a private business. So yeah, the officer is just now, he was looking for shit to try and harass this citizen.
But you're loitering. No.
See?
Go on about your way. I asked him several times, leave me alone, go on about your way. Get your hands out your pocket. Hell no.
Oh, that was the other thing. Now, mind you, the guy is open carrying. The citizen, the veteran, is open carrying. But the officer tells him to take his hand out of his pocket. And it's like, wait, hold on. Okay, let me keep playing.
No, sir.
See, he tells him, well, I would like for you to take your hands out of your pocket too. No.
What does that make any sense? This is a big old gun right here, and my hands in my pocket.
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
I don't know, but be adult.
He has the gun open carrying, but his hands in his pocket. He goes, does that make any sense to you? And I'm sorry, but you are not going to tell a veteran to take his hand out of his pocket because of all that bullshit that we couldn't put our hands in our pockets when we were in the military. So no, you are not going to tell a fucking veteran something that we couldn't wait to do when we got out of the military was put our hands in our fucking pockets. You are not going to tell a veteran to take his hand out of his fucking pocket. No. But there's no rule for that of taking your hands out of your pocket. I love when cops try to do that shit. I understand it when we for our safety. Dude, I'm open carrying. What do you mean for your safety? Actually, for your safety, my hand's actually in a much better position for you because it's in my pocket. Oh my God. It's so stupid.
No, I'm not.
What were you doing?
Filming the police.
He came to film our content. Okay. And what was he standing?
We were on traffic stop. Mr. Jackson pulled in, and as we were finishing up the traffic stop, pulling out, he got out of the vehicle. And he drove down, turned around, and came back up.
And what I was doing is I was coming to this side of the car to put my camera in before he U-turned back in. Then he starts talking about my lights. I've been knowing the lights have been illegal in this city. Blue lights, red lights are illegal.
Okay, blue.
Those are purple lights.
Those are purple.
Yes.
Now, even the other cop, the third one, the sergeant who walked up was like, those are purple. They are purple. They are actually, because when he turns the camera, they're fucking purple.
Now, I can set up my tripod and I can turn them blue. For somebody to follow the police, so to speak, I just kind of show up where you guys show up. I just happen to be coming by the road. Illegal is not my thing. You know what? Because there are people, officers like you, that look for anything to bother me. So illegal is not going to be my thing. Now, I'm not saying I can never make a mistake, but lights have been legal in this city except for red and blue for a long time. He tried to say any type of light is illegal, and that's not true. And that's what I'm combating against. He don't like me for whatever reason. Then he gonna come up and make up all illegal lights altogether are illegal. That is nonsense. And I don't have to sit up there. Yes. Yes.
All right.
What's your name, badge number officer? Or
My name's Sergeant Weaver.
Sergeant Weaver. Nice to meet you under these circumstances.
All right. But Mr. Jackson,
Now, this is one of the things I do not like by police officers or even military. Okay, there's an incident where they're outside of an Air Force base. It's one of the other channels I follow, and the person was like, "I'm lieutenant," so it's like, "Fuck you, dude. I'm not in the military. I'm not calling you by your goddamn." Those officers like that, your name is not sergeant to me. Well, I earned it. Yeah, you earned it to in the police department, and you earned it to your fellow officers. But I'm a civilian. I don't need to call you by your damn rank. Same with military. I'm, lieutenant. And then I don't give a fuck what your rank is. I'm a civilian now. Fuck your rank. Your rank matters to other military. It don't matter to me. So my name is Sergeant, and he said it with an attitude. It's like, if I were me, I'd have been like, I'm a civilian. I could care less about your rank. But,
what are we out here for right now?
And this is where all he had to say was, the officer blocked me in. That's it. That's why we're out here right now. I was already going to leave. He blocked me in. That's why we're here right now. That way the officer could turn around and tell his story, which is still all bullshit. Well, for one, his lights. My lights are obviously purple. So that's not a crime. Well, he's in front of this closed business. Did the closed business give you any authority to tell me to leave? No. Then also not illegal. That's why we're here. Is because this officer wants to violate my rights by asking for my identification. No, I haven't committed a crime. I've already asked him numerous times, have I been suspected of committing a crime? And that's it. That's all he had to say. But he ends up losing his temper, and it's like,
I was, like I'm saying, I was leaving. They was at the end of the stop. By the time I got out and walked over here, they were pulling off. So I was turning around to put my camera, and I'm only talking to you. Normally, I wouldn't even answer a question because I don't have to. But since the stop was over, I kind of lingered around a couple seconds, make sure the stop was over. The other cop,
the lights are purple. I mean, as far as I'm looking at them through the camera, they look blue, but no, they are definitely purple. That's purple. And as I said, on the camera, it looks like on here it's showing blue, but no, they are actually purple.
That was you. Went up there, took a right. So I just
nice car too.
Come over here to put my camera in the car. He U-turned, and then he trying to, oh, you're doing something wrong. Give me your ID. well, give me your ID, and I refuse because I'm
Now, the second officer who showed up said, well, there's been robberies and things like that. Okay, so what? Just because there have been robberies, again, still does not allow you to trump the rights of a citizen. Just because there's been robberies and things like that doesn't mean you get to just violate my rights just because there were robberies at other places and shit. That doesn't mean that you get, okay, am I attached to, well, I don't know who you are. Am I suspected? I mean, I'm just going to ask you over and over, especially with the camera. Am I suspected of committing a crime? Am I suspected of committing a crime? Am I suspected of committing a crime? What crime am I suspected of committing? Nothing? Well, then I'm free to go. The moment you try to detain me, now we're going to have issue, and now you're going to be in trouble.
doing nothing wrong over here.
But you parked at a closed business.
Okay. Okay.
You're parked at a closed business. So what?
Here's the thing, Mr. Jackson. So last time we had a stint of robberies. Right?
Okay.
So, and it was at a gas station.
See, we had a string of robberies. What does that have to do with all of a sudden the law changing? What does that have to do with all of a sudden that my rights changed? But Mr. Jackson starts arguing. I wouldn't be arguing. I'd be like, okay, those string of robberies, did that change the law that you are enforcing? Did that change my rights that you're violating? No? Well, then we're done here. Please move your vehicles so I can go. That's it. But Mr. Jackson starts yelling. Oh my God.
The reason, yes, he may have said the blue light, but we are on crime suppression. Okay, so we are out here stopping vehicles pointed.
We're on crime suppression. I don't think that's a law, officers. I don't. What was the other one? We've got you detained for the one that was here in El Paso. We've got you detained for investigative purposes. That's not a law. That's not. But officers are just making shit up. They're just making shit up. They're probably sitting around in the break room and shit going, hey, can we reword things so we could violate people's rights? No. I would have been like, no, excuse me. Show me that there's a law for that. Pull it up. Because you must have the regulations and laws. You must have that on your computer, right? You must have that available on your cell phone, right? You obviously have to study this stuff. So show me where this law is that you're doing crime suppression.
Those businesses with the gas station right there. Mm-hmm. Okay. As soon as I pulled by, it was out you were, and I knew you weren't out here doing anything but doing what you do. Mm-hmm. All right? That's
my problem. Well, like I'm saying, I don't like you.
As I said, he starts yelling at the other officer, the one who originally pulled him over. He starts yelling at him and everything. As soon as this officer said what he said, that this is what we're doing, crime suppression, I would have said, because he actually goes into, I know you, the sergeant knows he's seen your videos, he knows you, but this officer doesn't. And I would have been like, and that, again, all of a sudden means he gets to violate my rights because he doesn't know me? Are we done here? And that's all I would have done. But as I said, he starts yelling, which is why I'm fast forwarding through it.
Did he know what you were doing?
See,
still, I don't have to ID.
Did he know what you were doing? He doesn't need to know what I'm doing. He doesn't. What crime am I suspected of committing? Nothing? Then we're done. He doesn't need my ID. Again, this whole thing of people doing compliance. No. No. You don't get to violate my rights just to make you feel better. That's no. Fuck that.
Okay, still, I don't have to ID because suspicion is not ideal. Now, you can investigate all you want. Now, I don't have to help you with your investigation. Because now what he was doing is he's come up here being a dick, trying to tell me.
He just.
Big old camera right here. Big old camera.
Anyway.
Former pastor, should he inquire why you at a closed?
He could. Okay.
He was just wanting to inquire why you were at a closed business. He can inquire all he wants. I don't need to answer by my rights. I don't need to answer. What crime am I suspected of committing? I don't understand why this conversation is going on. Maybe he's continuing the recording so it gets over like 15 minutes because I think it's some bullshit. You know, people padding the runtime so they get more money. That I think it only gets monetized after your video only gets monetized after a certain amount of time, or some bullshit like that, or it gets more views if it runs over a certain amount of time, or some crap like that. But because I'm still curious. I mean, this could have been over in like 5 to 7 minutes. But the fact, so I'm thinking the dude's doing it on purpose, that he's just padding the runtime.
He could, but I don't have to answer. Legally, I don't have to answer. Now, if I was, he come up and I'm, my ass is just jiggling and Jimmy in the door, he's got me dead right. Now it is legal. Now he caught me in the commission of a crime. Now the secondary charge is failing to ID because now he caught me with my hands in cookie jar. I don't have to ID under suspicion.
Nope.
Unless you have, I don't even know what word I want to use right now.
Some stuff to back it up.
I love the sergeant. I love the sergeant. Basically, he doesn't have anything to back up his suspicion. Right.
Absolutely. And, but the fact that
here's the thing is the sergeant is literally giving credence to what the citizen is saying. So I don't know why this other officer has not left yet. The first one. I would have been like, okay, I'm leaving. I'm done. Y'all want to continue talking to him? Y'all have now, especially now that the sergeant is there, the sergeant has now verified that you were harassing the citizen for suspicion, which is not authority. Suspicion doesn't give you fucking authority. As the sergeant said, you have to have something to back it up. This officer should already be getting in his car and fucking going to de-escalate things. But no, he's still there.
He starts, hey, you this, or you this. Oh, your lights are illegal. No, they're not illegal.
Again, he's repeating himself, and to me, you're just padding your runtime, dude.
I've had lights for.
Now, my videos go on long, but I'm actually fucking saying something.
10 years? 10 years, and blue and red are.
See, he keep repeating the blue and red thing. Who cares?
Move. I don't want to talk to you.
Well, Mr. Jackson.
Uh-huh.
At this point, we're gonna go on about it.
As the officer should have already left. The sergeant just said, well, hey, right now we're just gonna go ahead and leave you alone. We're gonna go ahead and go. This guy should have already left a few minutes ago. Why he's sitting there? It's like he's a child right now. He's a grown man. Look at him. He's got to be in his late 40s, and he's just sitting there, and he was looking at the sergeant like, well, what do I do right now? What do you do? Dude, I mean, well, he's got one strike. He's got one strike. That's it. One fucking strike. As old as you look, you got one fucking strike. Probably because you're a dumbass cop that you haven't been really promoted yet.
Tell you this much.
Okay.
Try not to go hanging out at my closed businesses in the middle of the night. Okay?
No, there is no, I can, unless the business removes me from the property, or there is a sign, because there are signs that say no trespassing after closing hours, then you can do that. But to just be in the parking lot of a closed business, you would need the permission of the business for the person to be removed. That is not the officer's authority.
I'm going to follow you guys.
I would have rather for you to park at the gas station.
Yeah, sometimes.
No, because if he had parked at the gas station, then he could have been towed. Because at that point, not being a customer, that would have been trespassing. Oh my God. See, the officer is being a fucking dumbass right now. He's being a fucking dumbass.
Open business, because bottom line is we got a lot of businesses being broken into.
Okay.
And people who live and work in the city just as hard as you do.
Mm-hmm.
No, You still cannot just make up laws as you go. You cannot. You just can't do that. The officer is literally trying to tell a person to follow a rule that is not a fucking rule. When you tell me that kind of shit, I'm literally going to come back with you going, no. Unless there's literally a sign that says no trespassing after hours, that kind of thing, then no, I'm not going to listen to you. Because you're here, you are again telling me to just listen to you violating my rights just because that's what you want. No, they would literally need to put up a sign because it is a private business. They would literally need to put up a sign that is clearly marked and all that other shit, signs, multiple if need be, where it says no trespassing after hours. If they don't have anything like that, then you would need the actual business people to tell you to get off the property. Again, that's not the officer's fucking job to do.
The business is protected.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you have a good night.
You too, sir.
And anything I can do for you?
No. You guys been fine.
All right. Well,
but he doesn't like the other guy. Okay. Anyway. Because he did call him a dick and all this shit on the other guy. But yeah, I'm sorry. I am a huge person that wants to, you follow the law, you follow the Constitution. You don't, and I do not like corruption in police departments. I can't stand that. It just, if you're that kind of cop, again, where, as I said, you can't do the job without violating people's rights. You can't do the job without breaking the law yourself. I don't like you. Quit being a cop. I have in my lifetime gotten many officers suspended and many officers relieved of duty, fired. Because if you can't do the job right, then don't do the fucking job. But anyway, that's the end of my video there. I mean, I know I went off on a tangent in the very beginning, like I go on a tangent on all my videos. I really wish I had recordings of the times that I've been stopped. And I will end up probably telling those stories eventually. Eventually, once I clear out my goddamn political folder, then I'll end up telling stories about my life. The police stops that I've been involved in, the corrupt cops who've been suspended or fired, that kind of thing. Oh, there's one story in Virginia Beach where we got pulled over. Actually, let me tell that one real quick. I could tell that one real fast. Me and my friends, all underage, we were drinking. This is when I used to drink back then. I don't drink now. I haven't drunk really in years. Many, many years. Well, anyway, we had been drinking at a party and we were trashed. Oh man, we were fucking trashed. We got invited to another party in Virginia Beach. So we left where we were where the fuck were we? Ocean View? Damn, I can't remember. No. Yeah, I can't remember what part of Ocean View. It was around Ocean View, but I can't remember the part of it right now. And oh my, it's bugging me because I know the area. I haven't been home in years. Fuck. And it's all renovated now, new housing. I mean, that area was trash. I mean, it's beachfront property, but it was trash. But it's all like fucking. Oh my god! Last time I was home, it was like, what the hell happened here? I mean, it's awesome. Anyway, so we're in Virginia Beach at this apartment complex or something like that. It wasn't a condo facility, but it was like an apartment complex kind of thing. And we couldn't remember. It was like I don't remember if anybody wrote down the address. I think nobody wrote it down. So we got kind of lost, and we're in this apartment complex, and we couldn't remember what apartment or whatever. And so we end up getting pulled over because we're trying to find this damn apartment. And we get pulled over for suspicion, which is not a crime. But the officer did smell alcohol. Okay. Thing is, my friend John, it was his truck, and he was the one driving. It was his truck. And so he did the sobriety test and all that to John. So John gets in trouble. I think did he get arrested? Oh my God, I can't remember exactly. But the rest of us ended up getting oh, no. Yeah, we did. We did end up getting taken in. We did. But then we ended up getting, so John's stepdad had to come get us. So we did get, not necessarily arrested, but detained more or less. But we all got ticketed for being, drunk in public and underage and all this other shit and whatever. And when it came time to go into court, here's the thing. John was the only one who was tested. He was the only one. Officer never tested the rest of us. He just pulled that bullshit of guilt by association. But I know the law. So I've as I said, I got family who are police officers and federal agents and such. So I know the law very well. And growing up around corrupt, racist cops, I made damn sure to study the law as far as what the fuck they can't do, and as far as harassment and all the other shit and violating my rights. I was very, very, man, I was an activist when I was a kid. I had students staging fucking walkouts, sit-ins. Oh man, I was a very politically minded kid when I was a kid. Oh man. So so anyway, we go to court. John, of course, he gets in trouble. He probation or whatever, some bullshit that he got or whatever. So now it's me and one of the other guys' turns. I went first. And he was like, "How do you plead?" I said, "Not guilty." And he goes, why not guilty? I said, because I said, I wasn't drunk. And I said, I'm speaking for my friend. I said, he wasn't drunk either. And the officer didn't give us a sobriety test. I said, he literally only tested John. He didn't test me or the other Mark. He didn't test us. He literally just took us in, guilt by association. Judge turned around and looked at the officer. He goes, is this true? You actually detain them, violating their rights without, basically the officer didn't follow the law. And the officer was like, well, I assumed, as soon as he said the word assume, the judge was like, y'all are free to go. You approach the bench. He went off. He turned around and said, no, before you guys leave, do you want to file charges against officer so-and-so? Do you want to file a complaint for false arrest, false detainment against officer so-and-so? And me and Mark looked at each other. We were like, nah, he's fine. I figured the chewing that you're about to give him is bad enough. Woo, boy, it was before lunch too. So that he was like, everybody, we're going to go take a bit of lunch. So everybody clear out of my courtroom. And as we're leaving, he is tearing that officer a new one. Holy shit. Me and Mark were like, God damn. John was like, wait, he didn't test y'all? And I was like, dude, were you that drunk? No, he didn't fucking test us. He tested you. That was it. He didn't test the rest of us. And again, I felt bad for the officer. He was a black police officer. I felt bad for him. But at the same time, again, you don't get to bend or break the law or violate a citizen's rights for you to feel that you're enforcing the law. I can't stand that shit. Again, if you can't do the job within the boundaries of doing your fucking job, officers, quit, because the job's not meant for you. Anyway, y'all, love y'all. We'll talk to y'all later. Rock on. Kansas City Chiefs, congratulations. Great fucking Super Bowl. Congratulations to San Francisco for getting there and putting on a great game. It was one of the best Super Bowls I've ever seen. Anyway, y'all, love you. Peace out.